Good evening and welcome to the West Covina City Council meeting on November the 5th at 8:04 p.m.
7.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Oh, I'm looking through my bifocals. 7:04. Oh, yeah, that's right. Thank you.
The automatic one.
Okay, we all rise. Our Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Pastor Samuel Martinez from the Amazing Love Ministry of West Covina. Our Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Council members Shoemaker. Is our pastor here? If he's not, we have our somebody else will do it. No. We have our city manager lead us in our
We join me in prayer. Lord God, our Heavenly Father, we're grateful for all the blessings that you've given to this community. And we pray wisdom tonight with our leaders and our community members that are here to present. Help us govern this town. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Please join me in the flag salute. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Castellanos?
Here.
Councilwoman Lopez Viado?
Present.
Councilmember Shoemaker? Mayor Pro Tem Wu?
Here.
Mayor Johnson?
Here. Reporting out of closed session, Mr. City
Yes,
Attorney.
Mr. Mayor. With regard to the Firefighters Association v. City of West Covina, on a vote of 4-0-1, Mayor Johnson abstaining, council directed staff to pay plaintiffs $290,000. In exchange, plaintiffs agreed to dismiss the lawsuit. With regard to Juanita Franco et al. Versus City of West Covina, on a vote of 5-0, council directed staff to pay plaintiffs $49,050. In exchange, plaintiffs agreed to dismiss the lawsuit. With regard to anticipated litigation, on a vote of 5-0, council directed staff to initiate litigation. The identity of the defendant will be disclosed when the action is filed. And with regard to Rodriguez v. City of West Covina, on a vote of 5-0, council directed staff to pay plaintiffs $800,000. In exchange, plaintiffs agreed to dismiss the lawsuit, and the settlement agreements are available upon request. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. At this time, I have one presentation. You know, it's really nice. I didn't even have to call the chief down. He already knew what was going on. So at this time, I'm just going to let you go ahead and start talking, sir, and let you introduce me.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mayor, City Council, citizens. We're here tonight to give a presentation for our Fire Prevention Week poster contest winner. I'd like to call up Mr. Levi Merchant. Merchant? That's you, Levi? Come on up. Come on, give him a round of applause. Come on. Okay, right here. Come on, right here. Come on. You're okay, buddy. You stand right in the center here.
Right in the center.
And Miss Paige Christensen, who is the principal of Roland Elementary. So every year in the United States during Fire Prevention Week, there's a theme to it. This year's theme was "Not Every Hero Wears a Cape." Practice. Wait, I don't know, what was it? Do you remember? It's plan, prepare, and practice your escape. Sherry. So what we did, we had a poster contest our second year, and we reached out to the schools in West Covina to do a poster contest. This is our second year. We had 4 times as many schools this year participate. We had 1 last year and 4 this year. Roland won last year, and Levi did the winning poster. So we're going to award him with the poster and a gift. The poster right here, which Sherry is holding, is his poster that won. This will be put on the fire engines in West Covina. They will have it on the side of their fire engine for a month or so. The school will also win this plaque for a year. Roland's on there twice because they won last year, and that'll be going to each school who wins each year. And that's it.
I have 2 certificates here. First one goes to Levi. It's for the City of West Covina Certificate of Recognition for the 4th grade winner for 2019 Fire Prevention Week Poster Contest. And this one is for you. Hold right there for a second. And then I do have a second one. It's for the Roland Avenue School Principal Paige Christensen for their participation in 2019 Prevention Week Poster Contest. And this is for you. Let's get a picture of it.
Sparky here has a bucket of some goodies for you. Give another round of applause.
And now it's time, excuse me, for oral communications. If you haven't filled out a yellow card, please do. They're up on the top and present them to our Assistant City Clerk. And we also have the pink cards that if you don't like to speak, but you'd like to have your voice be heard, you can hand those in. She will call you out and your name. You go.
Thank you, Mayor. First, I'd like to call forward Elsie Messman, followed by Herb Redholz, followed by Sherry Barillon.
Didn't expect it this fast. Mayor, council, staff, and everyone here tonight and at home watching. My name is Elsie Messman. What a difference a year makes. We have 3 new council members, a new city manager, a new human resource person, a new assistant manager, and guess what? The previous employees who were here for years could not negotiate a contract from 2017, and here all these new employees all of a sudden give raises to the police department and fire department. Where do they think we're going to get the money? The city apparently is hoping for another tax increase that will bring in $9 million to the city. Where our manager got these figures from, not our manager, our mayor, got these figures from, I don't know. Maybe it was a dream, but I think it was more like a bad dream. And that's in case this city is going to be history. We have money for the police and fire, but only about 2 years ago, we laid off 22 maintenance workers. Remember? And last year, this council approved a fee of $10 for the police department and $10 for the fire department for all residents that did not have an alarm system. Think about it. We are trying to help the police and fire department, and we have to pay a fee. False alarms should be charged to the owner of the alarm. The paperwork apparently is done in Texas. I called there requesting forms, and they told me to go to the police department, which I did, and they had nothing. How much has this city collected for these fees? Does anybody know? This was last year. I guess it's much easier to get a tax from the people than to have the people pay $10 when most of the people didn't even know. I call this poor management. Our police and fire department have only 17 square miles to protect and serve. Yes, the police officers are at risk, but nothing like what's happening in New York City and other major cities. Our military veterans, who are at much bigger risk, don't even receive a quarter of what our police and fire department receives. And they don't get to sleep at home in the comfort of a bed and with their family. I hope that the police and fire department personnel will look at themselves and look at the vets in the hospitals while some of them return in caskets, will realize how lucky they are to have a job near home and not hold the taxpayers hostage for the money. I received 2 calls this week asking for donations for the disability from the police union. With all the benefits that these employees get, they need more. They should live within their means. Why didn't the police union use this money they spent to promote the tax on the residents of West Covina to help the disabled? I also read in the paper that the police wage was so low that the city could only get 1 in 100 applications. Something is wrong someplace, and I hope this matter is looked into. What other cities do is their business, and they can afford to keep their employees happy. Great. We do not have to follow suit. Let's face the facts. If we can't afford it, we can't afford it. Let's not kid ourselves. It's like a monkey see, monkey do. That doesn't work in West Covina. Thank you.
All right, good evening, Mayor, council members, staff, and residents. I have a kind of a different lead than what I had planned originally because I got in my car to come over here about 5:55. I turned on the radio. I turned on 570 Sports. And the guy on the air, his name is Petros Papadakis, is talking about West Covina. And I'm going, oh, cool, West Covina, all right. And then he proceeds to talk about how, boy, you got to go to West Covina. They never clean the streets in West Covina. Not one street gets cleaned ever in West Covina. They have the, quote, they have the dirtiest streets in L.A. County. That's what he said. Well, I damn near had an accident. I'll tell you, and no one rebutted it. No one said, what are you talking about? Nothing. It just went on unchallenged. I think somebody needs to call that station, and they need to make an on-air apology. That's baloney. Okay, we don't deserve that. I don't like it. I feel a little better now. The other reason I'm up here, I wasn't here at the last meeting, so I just wanted to extend my welcome to our new people, Milan in the Code Enforcement Management, and also Mark, our new Assistant City Manager, and Helen, I believe is her name, in the HR department. I want to welcome them to the city of West Covina. Especially in the Code Enforcement Management Department. That is an area that is long overdue. That is long overdue. In the past, that department has been reactive, completely reactive, waiting for the phone to ring, waiting for somebody to report something, and then responding to it. Well, I understand that this is going to change, that it's going to be more proactive. We're going to notice things, talk to people, if they're working without a permit or things aren't right, they're going to get notified and cited, and the city is going to be clean, because there's some parts of the city that, they look like ghetto, and it's not good, and it's not what we want. It's not what we bought into. So I think this will help quite a bit. So I want to welcome them, and the city, is it perfect? No. Does it have problems? Sure. But you know what? I think we have good people in position, elected and staff, that will do the right thing and make it right and make sure it stays right. And I look forward to that. And I know you guys will do it. Thank you very much.
Following Sherry, I'd like to call forward Daniel Lavanos, followed by Jerry Patras, followed by Jim Grivich.
Okay. Good evening, West Covina City Council. I would like to talk about our service clubs in the city of West Covina. The first club I'd like to talk about is West Covina Beautiful. West Covina Beautiful is a nonprofit organization that has been in West Covina since 1947. The philosophy dating back to the 40s has always been about giving back to the community, bringing environmental awareness to neighbors, as well as promoting the beautification of our city. West Covina Beautiful's programs includes the Fall Fashion Show, Arbor Day tree planting, holiday decoration contest, the Impact Project. The Impact Project is a program where the entire club with 20 students goes out to the community. They clean the yards, the parks, they paint the walls. It's a very wonderful program where giving to the city is utmost to them. They work very hard for the city. The Lions Club. The Lions Club empowers volunteers to serve their communities, meet humanitarian needs, encourage peace, and promote international understanding. They've been doing the first site since 1990 and have provided over 300,000 eyeglasses to people. Their programs include serving the youth, providing disaster relief, and humanitarian efforts. The Rotary Club Sunrise. Our local community represents the cross-section of community businesses, professional men and women. The main objective of their club is community first. Their signature promotes focus on the new Shoes and Socks program, providing shoes and socks for hundreds of children in West Covina and surrounding areas. West Covina Afternoon Rotary, the mission statement is the same. Their programs include Red Rally Ribbon Anti-Drug Program, Holiday Gift Baskets, Hands Across the Border, and Heart of the Valley 5K Run. The West Covina Kiwanis. They clean up the city and our parks the first Saturday of every month. They have numerous programs like the Pumpkin 5K, where the benefits from that went to the West Covina Senior Center and Children's Program. They also have coming up the Children's Christmas Parade and the Santa's Village. West Covina Women's Club. The Women's Club of West Covina provides and aims and promotes education, moral, civic, and charitable obligations for the youth and the residents of West Covina. Every penny raised allows them to provide thousands of dollars in scholarships to our students. The Historical Society of West Covina. The purpose of this corporation, hereinafter sometimes referred to as society, shall preserve the history and traditions of West Covina. The corporation will operate the museum, storage facility for historical documents and artifacts, develop written and visual material for the public education, and hold civic events that preserve the history and the culture of West Covina. If I've missed any organized service clubs, I'd like to apologize. We can go on with Hearst Ranch, PTAs, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, but I only have 5 minutes. I would now like to read a letter the Historical Society received from a member of the City Council. Hi, Dr. Tennant. Thanks for the invitation. It is unfortunate that Brian Jost was considered for Citizen of the Year. I believe he has deliberately misled our community and misrepresented facts. I hope the Historical Society has learned from this mistake. I wish you a great event, but I cannot participate in this big event where Brian Jost will be given any kind of credibility. He is damaging to our community. One of the Society's programs of this is Citizen of the Year. This program began in 1960 at the West Covina Chamber of Commerce. And in 2009, when the Chamber has closed the stores, the Society asked for the files of Citizen of the Year to continue its tradition. The Society took the files with the history, the rules, the scoring system, and continued the program without even missing 1 year. Any organization or individual can nominate an individual for this award. It is not for the board to unethically pull a nominated person out of judging because Dick does not like Jane. How dare you even threaten or suggest that the board pull an application of a nominated person for any reason? As stated earlier, the wonderful organizations of the City of West Covina are governed by our 501c3s, which establish bylaws to follow. We are governed under the Secretary of State's corporation and rules to follow. We have rules and ethics, and all service clubs in West Covina are hardworking volunteers. All these active clubs provide West Covina the benefits for a better place to live. These organizations are a gift to our city and the money to provide our citizens of West Covina. We are not a group that does nothing but bitch and complain about what's going on in the city without suggestions or any end results except patting themselves on the back. It is an insult to every service club in West
Sherry,
Covina.
are you almost done now? Your time's up.
Yes, I'm done. Okay. It is an insult to the city of West Covina, to all of these organizations, and I believe that the council does owe the society an apology.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Good evening, Mayor Johnson, Mayor Pro Tem Wu, council members, city staff, and the community of West Covina. My name is Daniel Lavanos. I am your city ambassador for One Legacy Donate Life. One Legacy Foundation is one of 58 organ procurement organizations in the nation and the largest because of the 7 Southern California counties we serve. Our annual Donate Life Run Walk was successful in attracting over 15,000 participants for the importance of eye organ and tissue donation. Once again, our city ambassadors collected over 188 city proclamations for Donor Awareness Month of April. In total, 199 proclamations were collected from our state capitol to our the fire district of Chino Valley. And thank you for your continued support. It's that time for the 131st Tournament of Roses Parade with next year's 2020 theme, The Power of Hope. Celebrates the influence of optimism and hope. Hope is dignity and respect, joy and happiness, aspiration and achievement. Hope never, ever quits. Through hope, we can aspire to be our best and in turn inspire those around us to reach higher. With hope, anything, in fact, everything is possible, says 2020 Tournament of Roses President Laura Fiber, first Latina president. Our One Legacy wishes to invite the civic leaders of West Covina to our first exclusive look event on December 11th, 2019 in the city of Urbandale. You'll be able to meet the One Legacy float honorees, Floorograph families, walkers, and riders of One Legacy's Donate Life float, Light in the Darkness. You will be able to place a rose on our float, Rose Garden, and get an up-close view of our float. Please RSVP by December 4th, up to 4 guests. Remember, you have the power to donate life. One person can save the lives of 8 people through organ donation and enhance the lives of 75 people through tissue and cornea donation. Currently, with the DMV's help, together we are near 15 million future donors in the state of California. Also, there are nearly 113,000 people waiting for the gift of life, 22,000 in our state alone. Sadly, we lose 20 patients daily waiting for the gift of life. Plus, every 10 minutes, someone is added to this list. I am a liver transplant recipient. I received my gift of life on December 27th of 2003, the greatest gift I ever received from a stranger. Thank you, Mayor Johnson, Mayor Pro Tem Wu, council members, city staff, and the community of West Covina for giving me this opportunity to announce what One Legacy's mission is. Saving and healing lives through organ, eye, and tissue donation comforts the families we serve and inspires our communities to donate life. Thank you and have a great evening.
Excuse me. Good evening. Jerry Patras, longtime West Covina resident. In December 2018, when the previous council left office, they left the city with a balanced budget, a spending plan. It was a tight budget that required belt tightening by both city employees and residents for a couple of years. I don't believe you are implementing that budget. This council has its own plans, its own way of doing things, some of which are a concern. You are approving raises of a magnitude I have never seen in 40 years of public sector employment. You are approving raises based on faulty and incomplete cost projections and dreams of a newfound, ever-increasing and ongoing revenue stream. You are approving MOUs, memorandums of understandings, or collective bargaining agreements in my world, that commit the city to future salary and benefit levels without any consideration that the required extra money may not be there to pay for those commitments when they come due. Then what? It is okay to do those things in your own business or your father's business, or to take risks with your own household money. It's your money. It's not okay to run a city that way. It's not your money. It's the taxpayers' money. Your job is to safeguard public assets and to ensure the proper use of public funds. You have put our city on the very risky path to fiscal insolvency The process underway is wrong. Thank you.
After next speaker, Jim Grivich, I'd like to call forward Bill Robinson, followed by Angie Gilliam.
Jim Grivich. Last council meeting, I spoke about what happens if the tax increase does not happen, does not pass. And this time I'd like to focus a little bit more on what if it does pass. I believe that most of you have this dream that that will solve the financial issues. This time I don't have a chart, I don't have numbers. I'd rather talk a little bit about a 2015 headline that was in the Los Angeles Times that stated massive fiscal irresponsibility in West Covina. I've worked for 3 years to try to stop that headline from happening again. And right now, I'm not sure there's a way out. I'm kind of surprised there was nothing on the agenda tonight talking about the state auditor report. You know, I gave you my numbers. I said there are problems. The state auditor was much more direct than I was. He said West Covina is the 17th worst financially distressed city in the state. That's out of 471 cities. That's pretty close to the top. If the state auditor knew about the pay increases, I think you'd be right up there at the top, right with Compton.
Is it 2017 number?
That's correct. These are based on 2017. The state auditor, and this is in the details that you may or may not have been exposed to, and so it's my responsibility to make sure you understand them, said that West Covina is number one, absolutely the worst city with respect to pension cost risk. It's measured by revenue versus total pension debt. Yours is the worst in the entire state. You are currently granting a pay increase of 12%. And there's what I refer to as a poison pill in this pay increase. If the tax increase passes, there will be another 12%. So you're actually voting on a 25, 26% when you count compounded pay increase. And what may be invisible to you is that this pay increase is an increase in your pension debt by the same percentage. All of these people are going to be receiving basically a 24% increase in their pensions. And just so you understand how that math works, let's say somebody gets the 4% pay increase now. They retire a year from now. They're going to get that money for 25 more years. And they're going to be retired the whole time. No work for West Covina, no public safety for West Covina because they'll be retired. It's a compounding problem. I don't see any way out for the city if this happens. The city managers talk about pension bonds. When the bond analysts take a look at these numbers, I'm not sure you're going to be able to sell bonds for anything better than junk. And that means the percentage won't be there for it to be successful in terms of cutting the cost. It might be a small amount, but bonds are risky. And the reason there's a huge risk in this that people don't like to talk about is because the whole thing is propped up by the stock market. If the stock market crashes, and I bet in the next 15, 20 years it will crash sometime, the whole thing collapses because PERS simply does not have the money to pay these pensions without the stock market maintaining itself. And guess what PERS is going to do when that happens? They're going to come to the cities and say, you owe us another $100 million or whatever. It's hard to know what the number will be, but it'll be big. And I just don't see any way out of this problem. Yes, you can do more tax increases. Next year, utility tax. The year after that, parcel tax, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Sooner or later, the voters are going to say no. And I used the word bankruptcy last time, but bankruptcy includes layoffs and selling of assets. You're already doing that. You're actually already in bankruptcy.
Bill Robinson, resident. I wanted to start off with letting you folks know in the audience that Marianne Williamson, the candidate for President of the United States, is going to be speaking at Pomona College tomorrow night at 7. That's at 6th Street and College, and earlier in the afternoon at Scripps College. So West Covina has had an ongoing structural deficit for years. That fact has been compounded by a combination of recent ill-advised council policies, inadequate management, and possibly reduced transparency after the March 3rd election results appear, wherein our extremely effective current audit committee could be eliminated by ill-advised voter actions. This problem is intensifying tonight. More pay raises and bond debt are not the answer for West Covina. You folks are forgetting something important. It's just mentioned, post-employment benefits and the retirement debt load are approaching $250 million. The biggest debt, as mentioned, is CalPERS liability. I see it at $185 million, and the retired medical benefits add an additional $60 million until 2025. So what's your plan on a path forward if the stock market crashes next year? According to the state auditor, West Covina is 17th among over 470 California cities in major financial stress. That's 2 years ago data. The city's 9 bargaining units don't live here and don't care how much it costs residents to live here. The working poor are supporting the pampered elite, and I hope voters will soon awaken to the facts of life. The radical employee unions are running the city into the ground, absent city council leadership. None of you, I'm guessing, are probably planning on running for re-election because you can't or won't stand up for city residents, and residents will not forget tonight's or other recent council actions. West Covina municipal bonds probably won't fare too well in the future. Bankruptcy court cases do not favor these investors in California, according to bankruptcy case law decisions. Sooner or later, the state legislature will act. Because solutions seem unavailable at the local level for financial mismanagement, we observe we must focus on outside the legislature, any outside entities. If our elected council members manage their own households the way they are managing the city budget, they'd be homeless almost immediately. Let's recall the elephant in the room, CalPERS and the retirement medical contributions. We don't have a revenue problem. We have an expenditure problem. We elected Santa Claus to the city council. Negotiations are one way with no givebacks on the other side. I mean, you're just caving in. They make demands, you cave in. You can't continue to ask taxpayers to underwrite your lack of foresight and responsibility. I'm supposed to vote to raise my local taxes so public safety employees can retire at age 50 at 90% of their last salary, then perhaps take another job while the rest of the community expects to retire between 62 and 72 at age. Good luck on selling that to the voters in March. My heart goes out tonight to city resident, former police chief Mark Taylor, who was ordered by a past better council to cut the police budget. He made a responsible but an unpopular decision based on the necessities, and that cost him his job. I wish Taylor well and look forward to the results of the DA's investigation.
Excuse me, Bill, that's your time's up.
The investigation regards retaliation and political corruption. I'd like to finish and summarize by saying.
I'm sorry, Bill, your time's up. I've cut everybody else up. Bill, you're done. Please sit down.
Yeah, I'm done. But I just had to get that last sentence in.
Well, you were cut off anyway.
Hello. Today is known to all as the first Tuesday in November.
Pull your mic down a little bit.
Okay, thank you. Today is known to all as the first Tuesday in November, where many cities are voting. Cities such as Irwindale, Monrovia, Sierra Madre, South Pass, Claremont will all be voting on to raise their local tax from 9.50 to 10.25. The city councils in these cities have assessed and made decisions to look at their deficiencies, such as maintaining their parks, streets, sidewalk repairs, senior programs, and police and fire response time, and came to the conclusion that raising the sales tax was necessary. Many residents will support their councils. Why? Because their council has appealed to the residents, and the residents themselves has felt and seen the decline in the appearance of the mentioned deficiencies I have stated already. This is not the case in our city. Our council has not taken the leadership position. Our council has sat back and allowed the unions to assess their needs and circulate a petition to raise our taxes instead of being fiscally responsible and looking out for the residents. If this council wishes to have all of the residents' support, you need to show its residents' perspective and have the courage to make the tough decisions. And you have the benefit of us all, not just the small circle of friends, supporters, unions that you are obliged to follow. Thank you.
We have no more speaker cards.
Excuse me, Mr. City Manager, do you have any comments you want to make? I think, yes.
City Manager, can you please correct the statement? I know they said we laid off 22 employees, but can you give the accurate count? Because it wasn't 22 employees that was officially laid off.
Through the chair, in the current fiscal year, we privatized some city services. We privatized building and safety. We privatized city engineering, and we, as a result of that shift, eliminated 12 city positions in the current year.
I'll clarify. The speaker was talking about the year prior, and I believe when I got on the council, I was told that yes, 22 were laid off. Some found jobs, some retired, and about half were actually brought back. So the number's a little skewed.
I think it was on 6 or something like that. It was total layoff was around 6. The rest of them someone retired, and we hired someone back, and some of the others we actually found them another job right away for them. So it was actually 6 out of the 22 that were actually on their own. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, that's the end of oral communication. Now we go consent calendar. I have 2 items that was polled. I polled number 2, and Council Member Shoemaker polled number 5. Is there any other ones to be polled? If not, may we have a motion?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Councilman Castellanos?
Aye.
Councilwoman Lopez Viado?
Aye.
Councilmember Shoemaker?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Wu?
Aye.
Mayor Johnson?
Aye. That's 5-0. Okay, the first one is item number 2 is consideration of investment report for the month ended September the 30th, 2019. I think our elected treasurers will come down and give that report.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor Johnson, council members, community. How are you? Colleen Rosati, elected city treasurer. It is recommended that the City Council receive and file the investment report for the month ending September 30th, 2019. A little bit of background on this particular investment report. The city is required by the state of California, code number 53646, to report detailed information on all of our security, investment, and monies of the city, and to report a market value of the investments that are currently being held. The investment report contains the following. We are in full compliance with the state of California and the government code 53601, the city's investment policy, and the types of investments that are allowed. We are also in compliance. The city's surplus funds are deposited currently in the LA County investment pool, along with the LA County LAIF, along with Chandler Asset Management. A couple things I just want to bring to your attention. Last time I spoke, I had a concern about how much money was in our general account. We have moved a significant amount to the investment funds available to us, which is the LA County investment pool, which currently has $25 million, and also to LAIF, which has $16 million. With Chandler, we have been backing out or not reinvesting with them, depleting that portfolio. We currently have $5.9 million there. So we have a total as far as investment in our portfolio of about $46,951,000. Currently, LAIF and LACIP are paying 2.28 and 2.04. Please be aware that along with this report, not only do we have the city's finances listed, but the successor agency is also in there. So the successor agency currently has about $1.4 million of their monies listed on this report. I just want to make you aware of that because those are funds that are designated to certain projects. That concludes my report. If you have any other questions, more than happy to answer them.
Not seeing none. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. That's that one. Number 5 is, I'm sorry. Oh, yeah. Okay. Do you have a motion to receive and file?
So moved.
Okay. It's, motion, no objection.
Done.
It's done. Thank you. Okay. Okay, next item is item number 5, consideration of the West Covina Firefighters Association memorandum. Okay, on this item, I am going to have to recuse myself, so I will be leaving the room before we even bring it up. Mayor Pro Tem will be leading this issue. I'll turn this.
So, Councilwoman Shoemaker, would you put it already? So you want to start it?
Okay. So either you or the chief can come down. I have a few questions. So can you just explain the new staffing model, the shift premium differentials, and the city savings with this new model that's possibly be implemented?
take those one at a time. The first one is the
staffing model.
So the new staffing model, the way we're going to change it is that right now in every single firefighter position, except for the truck company at Station 4, the Quint, has got a firefighter paramedic, and they are the main member of the department on scene of a call that would be the paramedic in charge. We're going to change that and hire 3 firefighters on Engine 1, and the second firefighter position on the truck will be a firefighter as well. And with that, we'll be able to recruit and recruit some new firefighters who are having trouble getting firefighter paramedics. So with that, the new staffing model, we're going to move the paramedic function to the captain or the engineer. And with the premium pay, you ask the member, whoever is going to be the paramedic for the day on the rig that has the firefighter in the non-paramedic in the firefighter position will get $100. The difference is the savings of firefighter paramedic versus firefighter, and then the difference where we're not paying the percentage above firefighter for a paramedic will go to the engineer or the captain, which is $100 a day.
Would you know that's a percentage of savings or
It differs depending on where they are in their salary range, but it's roughly 18-19%.
Is there any question?
Yes, Chief. I do have a question related to the recent wildfires we've been having throughout the state. How will that affect our finances? And as far as repayments go, how quickly do those get repaid?
In the repayments for that sometimes come quickly. We just received 2 that were fires we were on a month ago. Sometimes they take a little longer. The bigger ones take time to reconcile. The different agencies are there, the different organizations that are going to share in the paying for it. But we get paid back every dollar we spend for salaries, plus we get a premium of 21%, roughly 21% for our overage of every dollar we pay. Plus, any vehicle that's agency owned, we get paid for that. For a fire engine, we get paid roughly $90 an hour for being out of the city. And then for a vehicle, it's a flat rate. If we take a van or a pool vehicle, we get paid for that. So not only do we get what is very beneficial is the knowledge, skills, and abilities, going out and getting that training and that learning and seeing what's out there different than we have on a day-to-day basis in West Covina and mitigate those emergencies here. We get compensated for us going out and being a mutual aid partner throughout the state of California.
Thank you, Chief.
Any other questions? Okay.
I do see that all this is reference to the new ongoing general fund revenue that exceeds $3 million annually. If it doesn't hit that benchmark, what then occurs? And this possibly might be answered by Robin, possibly.
So if I understand you, you're asking regarding them being placed at number 3 in the survey cities. That doesn't happen unless we've reached that benchmark. The raises that occur are going to occur in January if this is passed tonight. Those remain, and that's a cost of about $900,000. Half of it is 461, so double that, for a whole year. We were looking at the 461 is for 6 months.
Any question? Okay. Councilwoman Shoemaker?
Okay, so part of this MOU is that we can hire firefighters instead of firefighter paramedics. And my question to you is, are we keeping in place where captains and engineers are paramedics also, or if we have a position open for that we may hire from outside, are we requiring that?
If I understand your question, probably hiring outside for a captain or engineer?
Yeah, are they going to be required to have the paramedic, like ones who transfer up within our department would have currently?
So first, on one of our fire engine or our truck apparatus to respond to a call, we have decided to be which is a paramedic assessment engine. So there needs to be at least one fully trained LA County paramedic accredited on that apparatus.
No, I understand that. I'm just wondering, when we have the firefighters, and that isn't the only place that we have. Currently, firefighters are required to be firefighter paramedics. When we transfer up, obviously, they can stay paramedics when they become engineers or captains or whatever. what is the process if somebody comes from outside of the department into our fire department, if as a captain or as an engineer?
We won't. We don't hire lateral captain engineers.
Okay, period. Because
Period.
I know that was an issue with an assistant chief. So we'll move on from that one. And then one of the things here, it says that we will be allowed to hire firefighters only until we get ongoing general fund revenue exceeding $3 million annually. So am I to take this to understand that, let's say the tax passes and we get that $3 million, we immediately have to go back to hiring firefighter paramedics, and what does that do to our numbers in terms of what we're estimating as savings?
I believe the MOU states that through attrition, we would now start any further hiring after that would be firefighter paramedics, if I'm correct.
But if we're not fully staffed and we get to here, then we're immediately back to hiring firefighter paramedics, correct?
Correct, but the plan is since we're having trouble recruiting firefighter paramedics to work here with, the situation without having a good contract, without having compatible wages, we don't have a pool of firefighter paramedics who want to work here. So with a good contract and everything doing good, we can bring good members here. And with the tax and a city that's not in financial difficulties at the time, we can retain people. The problem is we're going to have people leave and go to other places where they can make more money, and they don't have to work as hard, work as much overtime, work in rigs that maybe aren't working. They don't want to work in those conditions. The guys have been doing it for years.
So it's your feeling, just to reiterate, that with this new contract, you'll have the same thing that the police department did, where you will be more able to bring people in and you will be more able to retain firefighters and paramedics.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We'll be able to recruit quickly. We'll be able to bring people in.
Okay. And then I'll just tell you the same thing that I told the POA, and that is, at this point, we don't have the money to pay this. The only way this is successful is if the tax passes, and we don't know that that's going to happen. And if that doesn't happen, we do not have the money to pay this ongoing, which means we're looking at layoffs and things like that. And so for that reason, I'm voting no, just like I did with the POA. I will say to all of you, I believe you have earned this, that this money is money you should be getting. I congratulate your union on negotiating it, because I don't have the feeling like some members of this community that, hey, your union negotiated this. It's up to the city to say no. So more power to you. That's the way negotiations are supposed to work. I know how hard you work. I know you have a fire department with holes in the walls and engines that are old and everything else, and I appreciate that you guys come to work every day, and sometimes it's literally every day when it should not be. I will be working to get the tax passed, because I don't want to be here a year from now discussing who we're laying off. And so I don't know what the rest of the council is going to do, but I can only speak for myself and say I really wish I could support this, but my overall duty is to the financial health of the city, and this just, at this point, does not fit into that. So if you had come to me in June, it would have been a no-brainer, assuming the tax had passed. But that's the only reason I can't vote for it.
Okay, thank you. Chief, can you have a seat? I have a question for our Chief of Finance. Okay, first, how long we don't have a contract? This is the first question. With FFA, I know we have about 3 or 4 years we don't have a contract, and during this time, do they have any adjustment for this 4 years? I think 4 years, right? This is the first question. And second question, regarding this MOU, okay, how we pay for it, okay, and how we justify this adjustment, okay, for give to them for this. I know because I think this is any of a labor negotiation. If we don't have a contract for such a long time, and now if we want to have a contract with them, we need to pay back. Okay, it's no different than any of this is not about their agree or something. It's just this is what this is about. Okay, and so first thing is how long they don't have a contract and how long they don't have adjustment. And this is my first question.
So the contract expired December of 16, and I'm not sure, going backwards, if they had raises during that time. If they did, they were very small increases. I didn't look backwards. But the way that we're going to pay for this is by becoming fully staffed in the fire department by the staffing model that the chief just explained to you, and that's going to reduce the overtime. And in fact, we think that it will more than compensate for what the increase is.
So basically, we base on, because I'm not based on the tax initiative at all, okay, we need to, if we do this adjustment, we need to know where's the money. So we need to calculate the money, then we can spend this money, okay, so we're not going to spend the money, it's bogus, we don't have. So I want to know, do we have this money? Okay, I understand you're coming from the overtime. So how we adjust, okay, adjust the overtime, let we guarantee, let this overtime will reduce. Well, I know right now currently the overtime kind of go to the roof, right? So maybe you can share with us. And by the way, I think we need to provide the overtime report to the audit committee or to the city council, so we can see how this money spent and how can we. The two things I said so many times is a forced overtime. That's bad for them. Second thing is overtime 1.5% is bad for the city. So kind of bad for both sides. So how can we, okay, get this staffing with their change and they can pay for itself? It's not going to go for our general fund. So again, okay, the wise way is how we adjust about the staffing, so we will cut the overtime, and how much then I will ask the chief, what kind of guarantee we can have, okay, that we will confidence this model is going to work, okay, that we're not going to depend on tax initiative. It's based on current our situation with the creative thinking, and make sure we will cut the overtime, let the overtime pay for this adjustment. Go ahead.
And I think it's all those things that you said, Council Member Wu, or Mayor Pro Tem Wu. We're going to have to monitor it very closely, present reports either to the City Council or the Audit Committee at your preference, and keep you informed along the way. Once we get fully staffed, again, the overtime should go down. And I know the chief had some calculations. I don't know
okay, would you
where
please?
he went to.
I said have a seat over there. You're kind of far. Right there. Look like you want to exercise, okay?
Yes, I do need exercise.
Let me finish there. Yeah. So regarding the new staffing, so meaning you guys willing to do some of changing, okay? And how guarantee how solid you think with this change that we will cut down the overtime, and the level of time we can use the overtime, because now we're paying tons of overtime, right? Yes. I think you know it, okay? I think I kind of talked to the finance directors regarding, okay, we need to control this overtime, POA overtime, FFA overtime. We want to make sure this overtime we're not going to to the roof, and how we use. You don't have to put a big fire over there, okay?
Go back to the staffing model.
What the heck? Okay, you touch my heart. You got a hero.
So right here I want to just point out and show, if we look on the right-hand side is our current staffing. Every single day that an A shift works, which is the red in the second column, we're required to hire 2 people. We have to, and those are firefighter paramedic openings. We don't have a choice, or else we're not going to have a resource to go to a call. On the B shift, we have to hire 1. This is not counting somebody on vacation, sick, going to a child's basketball game, or needing a day off just because they should get days off. We have to fill those spots as well. Then on the C shift, we have an open assistant chief's position and a vacant firefighter paramedic spot. We have to fill those every day. So by changing our model, we now can hire firefighters at a lower rate. We're going to promote. I have some people in orange or yellow on the left side. That's going to be talked about tomorrow, I'm sure, to me. But fill those spots, we don't have to pay that overtime. It's a big difference every single day. And the firefighter spots will be filled by new employees. We won't have that need. There will be days we won't have to pay any overtime at all if nobody takes a day off, if nobody takes a sick day.
It's like an extremely good dream, like some resident talking about that we try to approve that money we don't have. I disagree because I think if we do the new staffing, you guys willing to do some sacrifice, and we kind of how to work together, and again reduce that overtime. Because overtime is a major issue currently. We have no choice because you have less staffing required by all these paramedic and firefighter all together. So they increase the overtime. So the point is how can you guarantee confidence we can have let this model will work? And we will reduce the overtime to pay for this adjustment. I understand, you have a 3-4 years, don't have a contract, no, a cost of adjustment, cost of living adjustment, or a CPI adjustment, and it's kind of unfair, to the staff, I understand. Sooner or later, we have to pay, it's no free lunch. But at the same time, how can we pay for this adjustment, and then you guys have to find a way. So how confident or what kind of guarantee we have that we can utilize all this fund, and how soon we can see the difference, so this adjustment we will have the confidence to do it.
Well, I am very confident with a fully staffed, which you have talked about for many years.
How soon we can have a fully staffed?
Yes, so if we're fully staffed, we can guarantee.
How soon we can have a fully staffed?
I'm hoping
like
30
3 months,
to 45 days. Oh no, I'm talking 30, 45 days. Hopefully.
I know a lot of people apply. It's not compared with.
No, right now we're not.
I know people waiting in the lines but I know it's more than the police. Officer. I think. Firefighters. I know see a lot of. Young firefighter want to get into the business. So I understand. So you say 30 days for 45 days, we can fill it up?
That's the plan.
So what is our approved budget, of our staffing right now? 66? 70? No, 66. 66. That last time I remember you told me 66 contract. And so with 66 full staff.
Yes.
And we are going to utilize. I know overtime is not cut 100%, but at least can cut dramatically. What is the percentage you can cut? 70%? 60%?
Any number I gave you would be wrong because we don't know.
But
considerable. I can guarantee that it's considerable amount of overtime will be cut because.
Currently, we spend how much for the overtime?
We budgeted
Robin? $2.1 million. So we basically $2.1 million.
So we stay where we're at right now, we're going to go over $500,000.
Another $500,000?
If we hire and retain.
So 30 days, you're going to cut down $500,000 for the overtime.
I don't think that's the math, but.
And then I have no choice to spank you. So.
Well.
No, how can we approve something that we don't know? This money
save money. The reason it saves money is we have the constant staffing, we have the full positions, we don't have to pay that overtime. There's going to be we'll pay a lesser rate on a daily for the firefighter position instead of paying the higher rate for firefighter paramedic. And then when there's other people that fill in those spots when a firefighter paramedics aren't available, like a captain engineer, we pay their overtime rate, which costs even more.
And how about the 2%, 4% increase for the engineer, or the chief? What is about?
Well, that's there because they maintain their own continuing education. They go out and they continue their skills, and they're available if we need them in a big call. They're not the primary paramedic on that call. We're going to ask them to be the primary paramedic.
And that's including that when we have money like $3-4 million continuous money. If we have a development coming in, the money coming in, then we can do the adjustment, right? So right now, what we're going to approve is the more than cost of living adjustment for this MOU. So it's about $470,000, right? $470,000 for 6 months. So for all the staff have this adjustment that we are missing for 3-4 years, no contract, no adjustment for cost of living. So this is something we need to pay. And this one, if we do this, we can, if I'm summarized, okay, basically based on that, we can have a staffing coming in guaranteed by the chief, right? Guaranteed by you, right? Okay.
We love guarantees.
Okay. No guarantee.
You love guarantees. No, I said you love guarantees.
Of course, I want guarantee in life. Okay, I know it's, but your confidence. Okay, and the 30 to 45 day, that will cut down the overtime, and that will pay for all this adjustment. Am I right?
It's going to help. It's going to considerably help.
Am I right? This is what your plan with this adjustment of staffing. Okay, with adjustment for the 3 years, so we can have this contract. So that would be more attractive for you to fill up. Okay, the staffing, so to cut down the overtime, to make sure that we have a staff to go out. Am I right?
That's
this
correct.
Summary.
Part of the problem is if we don't have a contract, there's potential I may lose 6 more very good firefighter paramedics.
So this contract important, of course. Okay, it's ridiculous if public safety doesn't have a contract. We need to restart. No matter how they criticize, we need to have a contract to get staff coming in to cut down the overtime, because otherwise we want to work for a city, okay, they sacrifice their life, and at the same time, okay, fighting for all this, okay, it's important, okay, so people criticize about your pay, and you guys 24/7, 24 going out to go to wreckage of the car and try to get all this, it's traumatized. It's a very tough job. I understand. So including the police, okay, officer, including the firefighter, it's a tough job. Okay, it's not that easy, and for them to go to the north side to fight, to help to fight the wildfires is a very tough job. So another thing is this: public safety costs money, but the point is how we adjust, justify, do we have the money to pay? The point is this: where is the money? Show me the money. Okay, if we can have this money, I'm not going to movie, okay, so I'm talking about where is the money that we can pay for this adjustment based on what you say is the overtime with the new staffing.
Correct.
And you've confidence within 30 days, 45 days, and Robin is going to give us a number, okay, to do that. If it doesn't happen, so what will happen? Shall we deduct your pay or something?
So I just wanted to clarify, Mayor Pro Tem Wu, that what the chief said is in 30 to 45 days he'll be fully staffed. After that point, then we start seeing savings in the overtime.
Oh, what kind of guarantee we have if we have a full staff and we can see the overtime be reduced?
Simply on this number right there, we won't have to pay that exact amount every day. Everything for 10 shifts on the A shift, I'd have to pay what overtime for a firefighter paramedic makes, and that would be for the whole, every single month for each shift, and that is hundreds of thousands of dollars a month.
Thank you, Chief. Shoemaker, you have a question?
Yes, it's going to overtime. When we approved the budget, overtime for the fire department was originally about $3.5 million from the previous year. So 2.1 was actually the reduction if we got the department fully staffed. And so have we taken into consideration that the number in our budget was and this isn't for you, Chief, was a reduced overtime number? That's city manager or Ms. Bird?
So based on the numbers that we've calculated, with it being fully staffed, yes, that's been taken into consideration.
So we plan to be lower than the 2.1 million?
We plan on being lower than the 2.1.
Considerably.
Okay. Yes. Okay, and then people keep bringing up the firefighters' salaries and police officers' salaries. And so I would just like to suggest a shift in people's thinking to look at firefighters' base salaries, look at police officers' base salaries. You can see our issue is with overtime when people want to talk about our expenditures. When we don't have fully staffed departments, you get more overtime, which is where you get firefighters who are making double their salary because of overtime. That's not safe for them. It's not safe for us. It's not something that they want. So, again, I don't know where our community, or at least some members of the community, have gotten this idea that let's attack our public safety. And clearly, I'm not in the pocket of the public safety because I've so far voted no on the POA, and I've already said I'm voting no on the firefighters. But this is their job. This is what they make. This is what they do. And why are they the bad guys if they make $200,000 a year and $100,000 of that is because they haven't been home in 3 weeks? You know, they earn their salaries. They're not sitting in a fire department or the police department doing nothing. And so people can smirk all they want, but that's the reality here. And then when Mr. Wu brought up something regarding the pay increase, and I just wanted to clarify that I believe it's a misstatement. The 12% raise is not a COLA increase. It's not to cover the years that we weren't in a contract. It is a 12% increase, because also part of this MOU is that if we do get ongoing revenue, there will be a 3% per year one-time payment, which would actually cover the COLA for the years we were outside of contract. And so I just wanted to make that clear, because I didn't want somebody mistaking anything that was said and accusing anybody of lying. And so I just wanted to clarify that for you, Mr. Wu, and that is all.
So maybe I have, Chief of Finance to clarify, is this what this 12% about? Is this what this MOU is about for them to adjust, or this is something different than what I think?
So the 12% is an increase. It's also true what Councilwoman Schumacher said, that there is also in this contract a 3% increase per year, one-time payment for the years that they were out of contract. The 12% is to get them up to where they potentially would have been had they had raises in all those years, based on cost of living.
So basically still every year, for example, any company, like even my company, even sometimes slow years, I don't make money, I still have to give my staff some adjustment if they work 1 year. So I need to give them 5% or what, no matter what. Okay, this is out to keep them in my company. So I understand. So this is what this is about. That for this, 3 years out of contract, we don't have any adjustment. Is that, am I right?
That's right. There's a clause in there that says if we get revenue exceeding $3 million, that there will be a 3% increase, one-time payment for those years that they were out of contract. It's 17, 18, 18, 19.
So the 3% or 3% for 3 years, 3%, that's what kind of adjustment is that? Okay, so you have a 12%?
Based on the study that we did so far, it would be a one-time payment to each of the employees in the firefighter union of about a little more over, it's between 10 and 11,000 one-time payment.
So clarify that basically this 470,000, okay, for the 6 months, January to June 30th, okay, the 12%, that is the 3 years they don't have a raise. Okay, so this 12% is for that?
The 12% is to get them up to where they would have been had they gotten those raises.
Out of the contract.
But for those 3 years, they didn't get anything.
Yes, so then, okay, another 333, that's subject to if we have a continuous of revenue increase $3 or $4 million, then we can have money to pay them for that. If we don't, then they only have this adjustment.
Correct.
So the second adjustment is based on, and regarding the third place of all the city we survey, that's subject to if we have continuously revenue for $3 or $4 million.
Correct.
Then if every year we have the extra money coming in, then we can give them adjustment. That will cost about $900,000 a year.
Yes.
Am I right?
That's for the 12%.
12%.
Now, to put them at 3, it'll depend on the salary survey done at that time, because other cities are giving raises to their employees. So they're going to look at that labor market survey again.
Give me a roughly, if we get a $3 or $4 million continuously, okay, every year, okay, and then we have to buy by the contract this MOU, so we need to get the adjustment for third place. So based on this, adjustment, how many, based on your survey, how many percentage adjustment Because based on some resident talking about it's going to be 25%.
No, it's about another 4% outside of the 12, so it ends up being about 16% total.
So basically, to go to the number 3 position, based on current year survey, it's a 16%.
Yes.
So, and the 16% due to we out of, competitive for all the city, okay, so that's why we're losing staff, and that's why some people want to go to county, and this the issue. Am I right?
Correct.
Correct.
Yeah, so basically this is the summary about this MOU is about.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, any other question? Okay, go. Okay, okay, you want to, okay, go ahead.
Okay, with all due respect, I'm sorry, but I can't let the response that the 12% is to make up for the 3 years they were out of contract stand, because if that were the case, why do we have a one-time payment of 3% for those years if we get additional tax revenue? Because if this was to catch them up, then why are we doing an additional payment?
That's why it's a one-time payment.
Exactly.
So when they were out of the contract expired, in those years, the 3 years following,
Correct.
They would have been getting, say, 3% every year.
Which is why we're giving them the one-time payment.
Correct.
And so,
but then those salaries, as of today, would be 12% higher, close to it. Not quite, but
yeah, because 3 times 3 is 9.
I know.
12. And so, what our staff report says is that there will be a 12% increase as of January 1st. If we get additional revenue of at least $3 million ongoing, they will get a one-time 3% per year payment as the COLA adjustment for those 3 years. And then they will be an additional pay raise to put them into 3rd place. And so I just want to be very clear that that is what our staff report says. It doesn't say that the 12% increase is to cover the 3 years. It is a pay increase beginning January 1st, period.
correct. Not going retroactive.
It's not going retroactive.
Correct.
And it's not for retroactive years because it is beginning January 1st. And again, I have no problem with the pay increases because there probably would have been pay increases even though we can't afford them. But the fire department, it's just,
Councilwoman Shoemaker, I agree with you. Okay, 12% is increase. Okay, let's drop it. Let's go to any other question.
No other questions, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem.
Okay, go ahead. Okay, Councilwoman Lopez.
I wanted to say thank you. I know especially we've had a bunch of fire that's been happening. I personally had to be called into a fire to open sheltering. I did remember seeing one of our directors just break down because what you guys go through mentally, physically, it's a toll. And in the U.S. in general, it's a high percentage, it's 60%, that the public safety, that there's people who just don't want to be police and fire, especially in the police industry. It's hard. So recruitment and retention is the biggest issue in general in the U.S. So for me, it's about being competitive. We want the best. We want the best employees here. We want the employees to stay because I understand that people leave for better opportunities out there. We want to recruit and bring in the employees. We don't want them come in, train with us, and then say goodbye. Like I said, safety has always been my #1 priority. Saving a life, that's priceless. And if that's your life, it's a big difference. I know what you guys go through. I go through that in my field, in my industry, and I work with police and fire all the time. It's a tough field. Having a contract, I'm glad that you're able to negotiate and actually sit and agree to a contract. Having no contract is unacceptable. And having a contract in place, it gives a peace of mind. It gives security for the employees to stay. And that's a big thing. Instead of, if you ever had to be in that position of knowing whether you're going to leave, whether you're not going to have a job, I've been there. It's not fun. Having a contract gives you that peace of mind, which if this contract goes forward, I do look forward in making sure that we can address staffing issues, the overtime issues, and I'm confident that, you're able to hopefully accomplish that. But my thing pretty much is the competitiveness. Why would people want to come to West Covina if they can go and apply somewhere else based on the base pay in general? So I do support this.
So you want to make a motion?
I want to move forward with this contract.
So Councilwoman Lopez motions. Who wants a second?
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Castellanos?
Aye.
Councilwoman Lopez Viado?
Aye.
Councilmember Shoemaker?
No.
Mayor Pro Tem Wu?
Aye. Congratulations. Can we have Mayor Johnson back?
Okay, that is the end of our consent calendar. We're going to give about a 5-minute break until we clear the... You don't need a break? Want to keep going, guys? Okay. Okay. Please, as you leave, be a little quiet. Okay, that's the end of our consent calendar. Now we should move to item number 13, which is a public hearing. Okay. And this is a general plan amendment number 18-02, zone change number 17-02. And certification of environmental impact. This matter is set for a public hearing, consists of a general plan amendment for zone change and a certification of environmental impact report for properties located at 1115 and 1135 South Sunset Avenue. Will the city clerk verify the proper legal notice has been given?
That is verified, Mayor.
Okay. At this time, I shall open the public hearing on the project. There will first be a presentation of the staff report, then shall hear from those in favor of the project, then those opposed. Mr. Carmody, who will present the staff report?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. We have a team tonight to give this report. We're going to let Director Anderson introduce the item and the team members.
Yes, thank you. So this is Queen of the Valley, and there's we'll go into it more in depth, but there's a general plan amendment and zone change that are involved in that with a specific plan and environmental impact report. We've been working on this for approximately 2 years now for when it was first submitted, and we've been working on the environmental and for probably most of that time. It was about 20 months probably. So it's a long process. We did work with Queen of the Valley, and we have hired 2 consultants, one to be our planning consultant and to prepare the specific plan, and the second one to do the environmental impact report. So John Moreland is with the consulting firm KTGY and is our planning consultant, is going to be presenting the report. He also prepared the specific plan, which will be the document that we continue to use to allow for development for the Queen of the Valley in the future. And we also have Kent Norton from SOMAS, who did the environmental impact report with us tonight as well. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over to John to present the report.
Thank you, Jeff. Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and council members. My name is John Moreland. I'm the Director of Planning with KTGY, and the application request before you, as already mentioned, is a general plan amendment, number 1802. To change the designation of the former Sunset Field from Parks and Open Space to commercial. Additionally, there's a zone change request, number 1702, to change the zoning of that same area from multifamily residential 20 units per acre to specific plan. Also, the zone change request does include approving the updated Queen of the Valley specific plan, which will allow the campus to expand from the approximately 1.09 million square feet that exists today to approximately 1.58 million square feet, additional 490,000 square feet. And also included with this request is a certification of the environmental impact report, which analyzes the environmental impacts of these requests. As Jeff previously mentioned, this has been about a project that's been approximately 2 years in the work. It started December 2017 when the applicant, which was formerly Citrus Valley Health Partners and is now Emanate Health, submitted the specific plan application to the city. The city then hired SOMAS and us to prepare the EIR and specific plan, and our project really became in earnest in 2018 when we held a neighborhood information meeting. We held a scoping meeting on November 15th of 2018. The draft EIR, which is required per CEQA, was released for public comment between April 11th, 2019 and May 28th, 2019. And we also held a community information meeting at that, on May 13th in between that period. And then on September 24th, this item was before the Planning Commission. Context about the specific plan area, it's approximately 28.8 acres in the western portion of West Covina. It includes the main Queen of the Valley Hospital, the medical building at 1135 South Sunset, and the former Sunset Fields. The primary access is from South Sunset Avenue and West Merced Avenue via an easement on another property. When we develop a specific plan, what we usually do is prepare objectives that kind of craft the framework of a specific plan. And some of these key objectives is to provide hospital and outpatient service resources that evolve as the healthcare needs evolve of the surrounding community, to plan and construct and operate hospital campus facilities in a manner that minimizes disruptions to the surrounding neighborhood. Provide additional facilities as well as supporting uses that will create high-quality jobs and improve the economic vitality of West Covina. Replace outdated and obsolete buildings with modern energy-efficient facilities that can accommodate innovative therapies and practices. And also phase parking expansions to accommodate existing and future parking demands. Early on in the process, we did receive a conceptual master plan from the applicant that identified potential future phases that were being considered and are shown here. Phase 1A and 1B essentially covered new emergency room and intensive care unit, as well as converting the Sunset Fields to a surface parking area. And there's also a new medical office building and a parking structure as part of Phase 1B, which is in the orange color. And then Phase 2 would be a new to 6-story hospital building. And then long-term, potentially, which the build-out of the specific plan is looking at in the 10 to 15-year range, is potentially another medical office building, another parking structure, and another hospital building. So with that information, we crafted the specific plan into this land use plan that is before you. The current intensity, as I previously mentioned, is 1.09 square feet, and the campus has approximately 325 beds. The specific plan would allow the maximum intensity to increase up to 1.58 million square feet and increase the hospital beds up to 525. The former Sunset Fields, as mentioned before, that would be incorporated into the specific plan, and the zone change and general plan designation changes included as part of that request. And in here, as shown on this land use plan, Zone 1 is for the core medical services. Zone 2 would be a transitional office zone. And the Zone 3 will be a transitional flex, a lower intensity area that would act as a buffer from the neighboring residential and the open space areas. Some key specific plan elements include requiring varied setbacks, 5 feet, which would be 5 feet away from office and medical uses, 10-foot setback from South Sunset Avenue, a tiered residential setback, which would be a 15-foot minimum setback for all structures, 30 feet for anything 2 stories, or 45 feet for anything over 2 stories, and 70 feet from parking structures. And additionally, there would be a 15-foot setback adjacent to the wash and the neighboring open space. Some of the other key specific plan elements, in addition to the maximum build-out as mentioned before, is include design guidelines, which would include guidelines for regulating building placement, architectural design, colors and materials, lighting, equipment, and mechanical equipment, things of that nature. It also includes environmental sustainability strategies, and all future implementing projects, so each building that would be implemented by the specific plan would be required to be reviewed by the Planning Commission. Also, the height of the campus would be limited to 3 stories within that Zone 3, the lower intense area adjacent to the wash, the park, and the residential. And there is a stepping requirement too that limits the height at 4 stories adjacent to South Sunset Avenue, and then we'll transition to 6 stories beyond 50 feet. The specific plan also increases the parking requirements from the current requirement of 1.5 spaces per bed to 2.5 spaces per bed. The office parking requirements will remain unchanged. When the specific plan went to the Planning Commission on September 24th, several of the specific plan provisions were discussed, and the Planning Commission did include revisions that were included in the request before you tonight. One was to include that all parking structures be set back a minimum of 70 feet from residential uses. Walls that are separating the campus from adjacent residential uses would be required to have a minimum height of 8 feet. To add language in the design guidelines section of the specific plan that the design of buildings and parking lot adjacent to residential uses shall be located and designed to minimize impacts from views and lighting and noise on local residents. And lastly, to expand the definition of walkways and pedestrian paths to prohibit those elements essentially within the required landscape setback area from residential. And now I'm going to turn it over to Kent, who's going to talk more about the CEQA document.
Is it on? Yep. Oh, okay. Thank you, John. Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, members of the City Council. As you're aware, all discretionary actions by the city require compliance with the California Environmental Quality Act, we call CEQA, which is the overarching state law regarding environmental review for all lead agencies, including the City of West Covina. The purpose of CEQA is to establish a process for lead agencies to examine the potential environmental impacts of proposed actions, to develop mitigation measures to reduce or eliminate potential impacts of those projects, and to provide a way of lead agencies of balancing the potential environmental impacts versus the potential community benefits of proposed actions. An environmental impact report is the most extensive environmental analysis document you can prepare under CEQA, and that has been prepared for this project. It is what's called a programmatic document, which means that certain aspects of the project are not specifically known, a specific building design, but it establishes a framework within which the proposed 490,000 square feet of planned improvements to the hospital property can be evaluated in the future. By comparison, the Phase 1 development or improvements for the project, those are more well known, and those have actually been analyzed in the EIR at a project level, so much more detail on the Phase 1 actions. The CEQA process, John already outlined it very briefly, but essentially After you develop an actual description for the project, you send out a notice of preparation to agencies and the public to say we are going to prepare an environmental impact report and to solicit comments from the public and from agencies on what important issues should be analyzed specifically in the EIR. There are a number of times when public input is specifically solicited as part of the CEQA process during the notice of preparation period. Also, we held a scoping meeting to help identify issues to be evaluated in the EIR with the community, as well as a second meeting with the community to present the results of the EIR prior to that material being reviewed by the city. Once the draft EIR was prepared, it was circulated for the required 45-day review period to public agencies and members of the public. And after the close of that review period, we prepared a final EIR, which included responses to all written comments on the draft EIR, as well as findings of fact and what's called a statement of overriding considerations, because remember I mentioned that balancing act that CEQA provides for. The EIR identified several significant environmental impacts of the project, and because of that, then a statement of overriding considerations is required to provide that balancing of impacts versus benefits. And right now we are in the latter stages of the CEQA process. All that material, the draft EIR, the final EIR, all that material has been compiled and presented to you for your review and consideration prior to taking action on the project. The scope of the EIR analysis was comprehensive. It looked at all 18 different environmental topics. There's almost 100 different questions that are typically evaluated in CEQA documents on these various issues. The EIR determined that the project would have significant impacts in terms of greenhouse gas emissions, as well as traffic impacts on 3 intersections along Sunset Avenue, that at Cameron Avenue, Merced Avenue, and West Covina Parkway. I'd like to point out that in terms of greenhouse gas emission impacts, based on the methodologies that are established by the Air Quality Management District, the hospital itself, as it currently operates, would exceed those thresholds. So it's obviously very difficult for any kind of comprehensive expansion of a public facility like that to be within or below established thresholds for greenhouse gases. The traffic impacts that were identified, even without expansion of the hospital, those 3 intersections in the future would have significant impacts just from citywide or overall growth in traffic within the city, mainly because there's no right-of-way left to expand those intersections further. All of the other impacts that were evaluated in the EIR for the project were determined to be less than significant. There were 45 specific mitigation measures that were proposed in the EIR to help reduce or eliminate certain impacts of the project. About a quarter of those were for traffic in terms of timing of various improvements to reduce the traffic impacts in the future as much as possible. Those are listed in what's called the Mitigation Monitoring and Reporting Program, if you would just like to see those. Because there were significant impacts, the EIR also had to examine alternatives to the proposed project that might reduce significant impacts, those being a no project, an existing general plan and zoning alternative, a reduced intensity, a smaller project, approximately half the size of the proposed improvements, and then a senior care facility. The EIR determined that the existing general plan and zoning could eliminate significant greenhouse gas impacts, but would still have significant traffic impacts, but would not achieve the goals of the project to the same degree as the proposed project. So all of the alternatives were rejected in favor of the proposed project. There were 4 entities that commented on the draft EIR, that being Caltrans, the county sanitation districts, Suburban Water Systems, and the Torrey Pines Apartment Homes. 3 of those are agencies, and for the most part, they wanted clarification of information that was presented in the draft EIR. For example, Caltrans wanted more information on specific impacts or potential impacts to queuing at the ramps and movement at several different freeway locations, information about fair share contributions, vehicle miles traveled, and so forth. County sanitation districts simply provided additional information on actual sewer facilities and wastewater generation for the project, and similarly, suburban water systems provided information about future entitlements that would be needed, permitting essentially through their agency as specific improvements were built. The Torrey Pines apartment homes, which are adjacent to the hospital property, had a number of concerns about project setbacks, buffers, parking structures, et cetera. And John already mentioned a number of items regarding that. The final EIR responded to all of these comments. There was also, I should mention, there was also a late letter from a union representative, and there was a specific response memo provided directly to that letter, which you should have. There were some corrections and additions to the draft EIR that resulted from responding to comments on the draft EIR, those being changes to the specific plan on setbacks and buffers, clarification to sewer facilities, and clarifying freeway queuing impacts analysis. The final EIR includes the draft EIR and the appendices, the mitigation monitoring and reporting plan, which indicates specifically how all of the mitigation measures for the project will be implemented, the findings of fact, which outline how the EIR meets the state requirements for CEQA, and also, as I indicated, the statement of overriding considerations. Regarding the overriding considerations, there are 9 of them. I'm not going to read them. I'm sure you've read them, but this is a public facility improvement project, and so you would necessarily assume there would be a number of public benefits to this kind of project, including, obviously, the primary is meeting local and regional health care needs, but also improving accessibility, improving jobs housing balance by providing more employment in a city that has more housing than employment, and all the proposed activities are consistent with the general plan. So with that, that summarizes the CEQA process and the document. I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have about either of those, and I want to thank you for the opportunity for working with city staff and the hospital and West Covina on this project. It was very challenging but very rewarding professionally. It was an excellent project, and I look forward to your comments.
And just to conclude, that's the conclusion to our presentation. We do have representatives from Queen of the Valley here, Emanate Health. We have Tony Blakely and Chip Riddle, so they will be willing to speak to let you know their side of the story, so to speak, and we'll conclude at that point.
Thank you. Do you have any questions for anyone? You want to have them come up? Yes. Would someone please come up from the hospital, please?
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor. Can we resolve a question here and then pause this?
Sure. Did you open this is a public hearing? Is this for the public comment, or is this? Are they presenting? Okay. Very good.
Questions? I think the questions will be okay. Yes.
He is correct. I do understand correct. And I do stand correct on my own. You are correct. Before we go any further, at this time I shall open up the public hearing on the project. There will be first be a presentation of the staff, which we already did, and I forgot to. Then we shall hear from those in favor of the project and those opposed. Okay, we've already spoke on it. Now we can ask questions. Can I come on back up? I do apologize.
So nobody comes before.
No. We can ask some questions. We're open up for them to come up.
Questions?
Okay, I think the question will be here from my side. Since I'm on the job here till December will be 4 years. So I remember back in 2016, okay, and regarding with this proposal, we sell our Sunset Field, okay, to the hospital, to the expansion of emergency facility. Am I right?
Well, yes, part of the
that's on the ballot. Okay, that's how we move forward. Okay,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, the initial piece of this project is to start off with an emergency room. Yes,
yeah, that's the only thing I care. Okay, I care is how we decide. Okay, and to sell to our resident, and I think it's 5-0. Our city council all say this is something must be done to improve the emergency facility. And I want to start from there, okay, because this is what my understanding. Because for these 4 years, I never have any contact from you guys to tell us how you guys want to change this and that. Okay, certainly today, you send me all this book, okay, Thursday, and want us to approve. And I haven't seen you, I don't know even who you are for these 4 years. So I want to understand, do they have any change from the original what we support? That I and Lois Johnson on this city council, okay, approve and they put a ballot, okay, to approve, okay, sell the Sunset Field. A lot of people against, but still we get approval to sell to you. So my question will be, okay, any change from what we original, what the city and the resident vote to approve the expansion of emergency? Because I 100% support to expansion of emergency room because I think I remember back in 2006 I mentioned I sell to my resident. My father's has a terminal ill, living in my house 235 leave, and I have firefighters come to my home before he passed away 5 times to go to the emergency room of Queensville Valley. So I know how horrible that emergency room is. That need to be up there, upgrade. And the disappointment I have is we all sell this, we all want this thing be built 3 years. We not even close the escrow. So why is the delay? What happened? And today you want us to approve this. I don't even know where to approve from because how can we digest this in such a short time? So maybe you can elaborate to us, what this process, what you change, how can we approve this tonight? And I understand the Queensville Valley is very important, to our city. It's a partnership, but I think partnership meaning you need to come to, we represent the resident, we need to know what's going on so we can help you and to help everybody together have you very successful this expansion. Yeah. So maybe you can share with us.
Well, I wasn't here 3 years ago. I just started 3 years ago, so in 2016 I wasn't around, so I cannot comment on just what the state of affairs were there. Yeah, right. But I do know that we've been leasing the field since then and have that agreement in place. Now, yes, there is a new ER project proposed right now within this master plan. We have schematic design drawings already developed. Our ER was designed for visits of 35 to 40,000. Last year we had over 70,000 visits. So yes, we are busting at the seams for the ER, and that's the initial project that's on the plans right now, is to modernize and develop a new building so we can accommodate that influx of capacity for that additional 40,000, all the way up to 120,000 visits per year. So yes, that's the number one priority is right now is a new ED with ICU. Okay.
So the priority will be still the same cost, right? The same thing, the expansion of ER, that is what originally we approved, yes. And the resident want to help you guys and really give up their kid can play in that field to sell to the hospital. Currently, you use as a parking lot, and that place will be the expansion will be the ER. So we still the same thing. Meaning we are still focused, you guys still focus on the ER, right? It's not going to be the office or some kind of maternity leave or maternity facilities. It's ER because ER save life. And I understand 5 times I there and I went through it, in 1998. I know how horrible, and it didn't change too much even today. Yes. So yes.
No, yes. Again, that is the primary focus right now for phase 1. Is a new ED and ICU. The long term for the beds, the additional beds, that's 15, 20 years off. So right now, the building that's on the plans is a brand new 60,000 square foot building, 30,000 dedicated for an ER, state-of-the-art ER with 60 bays. Right now we have 22 bays.
So the new one with how many beds?
It'll be 60 what we call bays.
Yeah, okay.
It's not beds. It's
No,
bays.
bay,
Right,
yes.
Right.
I remember before it's like you the center, then you have a lot of
Right.
bay.
The
Okay,
bays are the cubicles, the triage,
yes,
and all that.
And then the
So-
ER doctor in the middle, they see the X-ray to see which one you have to take care of
Right.
first.
It'll be state of the art. It's going to have an MRI, CT scan. It'll have place for the ambulances for the trauma areas, behavioral health. It'll have dedicated for pediatrics, bays. It'll be the best around. And again, it'll be 60 bays. It's almost 3 times the size of what our current ED is.
I know everything takes some time for development, for design, but why take 3 years? Okay, it took 3 years till today. And during these 3 years, okay, we haven't had any contact from you guys to kind of, going through with us regarding, what we can understand your progress. Okay, so this is, right now I'm just trying to understand, and even later I will ask about the traffic impact, traffic study, and including, how we, use this expansion, what's the impact there will be, and how long it take, for you, if this thing, approved, and what is procedure? When you go to close escrow, because we decide to sell to you, this escrow still not closed with the land owned by you, and the land still owned by city. So I want to know the process and when you're going to close escrow to pay the $3.9 million, and then how soon you can build this beautiful facility. You're just telling us.
We're ready to close escrow as soon as we can get the attorneys together to sign it off. But
your attorney or our attorney?
Both of them. Both of them were working today. I think we got the letter. I think we're ready to rock and roll. So yeah, we're able to close escrow within 30 days.
So you're willing to close escrow in 30 days. So 30 days can.
As long as we can get the contracts and
everything
put together.
So we can get a contract signed, and in 30 days can close escrow, so we can get the $3.9 billion, and plus either you pay us something, we purchase some of the land. So
I believe you have $1 million already. So
so we still have about $3 million. You got over.
No, you have $2 million, I believe.
So it's 2.9. I remember. It's how much? It's 3.9, right?
Something like that. 2.9, 3 million. Yeah.
I don't want to get short-changed. Okay, I think I remember 3.9. Okay.
I believe it is 2.9. They did give us a $500 deposit, initial deposit.
So we sell this land. We sell this land for 2. So it's 2.9, not 3.9. It's a 2.9.
The purchase price is 3.9. The initial, when we executed the option agreement,
Yes,
we got
okay.
500,000.
It's a 3.9. I remember it's 3.9 purchase price, but they give us $1 million purchase some of the land on the Cameron Park. So the difference still 2.9, almost $3 million.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah. That's what I remember. It's 2.9 scare me. So it's 3.9, and then we spend $1 million, so we stay about balance 2.9. So 30 days, you're going to close escrow with 2.
If we can get all the documents put together.
Yes. And then if after 30 days close, how soon you can start breaking the ground? Are we going to get invited to break ground? No? Okay, I'm not going to approve it. So forget it. Okay.
Well, we are in the process of schematic design, construction drawings. Then we have to go to OSHPD, state agency, and it takes 6 to 8 months just to get them to approve.
Another
the
6 to 8 months?
6 to 8 months just to get them to approve the plans. We hope to break ground in about a year.
So many, I still cannot use your emergency room. Let state of the art
You can
facility.
use it. It's there. It's great. They save a lot of lives.
So
we've
okay.
upgraded a little bit the best we can until we, yeah.
Okay, I'm done. So maybe I can go somebody else.
Any other questions?
I just want to say something. I was at 3 of the meetings that they held at the Covina Valley Hospital on the design and stuff that they want to do. Now, I can understand a little bit of the frustration of the council is that they feel after all these few years, we should have had an updated brought back to the council to let us know where we're at and stuff like that. But like I said, I was at like at least 3 of them, where you showed you designs and everything we're going to do. So I understood, but I'm only 1 out of 5 council members that do understand. That's why when we sent the emails, did I have any questions? I didn't have any questions. I've gone over it before. I was at them all, and I've talked, and I listened to all the questions that were answered before. No, I'm saying on my behalf. But if any other council members have any questions of them, please. If not, we'll move forward. We'll open up for the public hearing.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Chip, for being here. And yeah, going forward, I would also concur. I personally would like to see a little bit more engagement. I had to do a lot of outreach myself. I have a relationship with our local hospitals, so that kind of opened the door for me a little bit. But I would like to see a little bit less of an effort from council to be abreast of what's going on, and a little bit more effort from the hospital's part to be engaged with us and keep us part of the process, because this is a lot to digest over a weekend. I would have liked to be. Yeah, so if we could do a little bit better in that, I would appreciate that.
We'll do. We'll work on it. Okay.
Is there any other questions?
No, it was just the same thing. It's just going through this whole packet does not give us a clear picture of what exactly you're trying to do. So I concur. That's it.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to give credit to Eminent Health here. It isn't them who gets us the EIR report, it's our staff. And so, again, we need this information sooner, especially if you expect us to vote on it. Obviously, it's gone through different divisions in the city, and so ultimately, we want more communication with you, but ultimately when it comes to us getting copies of reports, it comes from our staff. And I just, I don't like to call staff out in public, but I also don't like a community partner to be called out in public for something that they really have no control over. They did have control over the fact that, it took a year for any of this to even start happening. With the EIR reports and things like that, but ultimately it's here. It's the next step in them doing what they said they were going to do. Phase 1 shows clearly that it is the emergency room and the ICU, which is desperately needed at that hospital. I would have liked to have seen more in advance on the traffic impact, because as a former school board member of West Covina Unified, I know what traffic across the street at Edgewood High and Middle School looks like. And I know what traffic into the district office looks like. I noticed in the specific site plan, it talks about bicycle lanes on Merced Avenue. And that was part of a plan that the city put together to get a grant that they had the district sign off on without providing us a copy. We were given a copy afterwards that they were going to try and put bicycle lanes there, and so the school district immediately sent a letter rescinding our support. And so I believe the city did not get the grant at that point. And so it was interesting to see proposed bicycle lanes that probably aren't funded any longer as part of the specific site plan. So I would just ask that going forward we look at that, because I don't know when it has this sort of specific plan if those have to be put in, because there's already a history of the school district objecting to it. So that's it for me.
You want to say anything?
Well, I do understand that the staff provides that information, but it's also great to hear it directly from an organization giving us the presentation, going over things. If we had questions directly, it would be towards you, and the whole residents can also partake. I understand that it went through multiple things, but like you mentioned, there were changes that was being made. There was a final draft, so eventually at the end of it all, I'd like to see that final draft or the final plan. So that's where I'm coming from in regards to presentation, to getting briefed and everything to that sort.
Okay, if there's not any more, is there anyone from the audience that would like to come up and thank you, sir, would like to come up and speak in favor of this project? Seeing none, is there anyone want to speak against it? Seeing none, I shall now close the public hearing, or portion of it, and if there are any more comments from the council?
You know, I 100% support, the ER expansion. And that's why you remember 4 years ago, we champion and we take the hit, sell this park to them. And we with high hope, and with what kind of design, and I'm very disappointed. I didn't get any brief, and we'll present the resident. We want to understand, what this is about, and now with the 3 days, we have to read all this thing, and I even don't know, the traffic study and how we do the Sunset. Sunset is very busy street, and with that freaking busy street, now you have this major expansion, how we entertain, with all this, certainly increase. So I really have a hard time. Even I want this ER so much. I don't know this traffic study how we, cure, this potential issue, because traffic study is important on this Sunset, and Avenue, including the Cameron and the people in and out with the emergency, with the ambulance, go over there. So this is maybe secret people can answer without what kind of cure you guys study, and maybe can share with. We have to be responsible for the resident to see. We don't want to try to do something good but create more accident for our resident.
Let me take it? All right. Well, obviously you're all very aware of local traffic conditions, and yes, those intersections are congested. They will continue to be congested. As I mentioned earlier, they would be congested in the future, now and in the future, even without any expansion of the hospital. So the question is, what improvements can be made in a sequential fashion as improvements are made to the hospital that increase the amount of traffic? How can that increased amount of traffic be accommodated to the greatest degree at the local intersections? The traffic study was done according to the cities and the counties' procedures for preparing traffic impact assessments. They looked at 7 different freeway segments. It looked at 16 different intersections, the 3 of which that were indicated to be significant. It followed the cities and the counties' significance criteria for determining what a significant impact is. Actually, this build out of this project is going to generate a little under 10,000 additional new trips, and I can pretty much tell you that almost any other kind of land use on that property would generate more trips, any kind of commercial use or office use. So in terms of actual overall trip generation, it's fairly modest compared to other kinds of land uses. That being aside, that doesn't mean it's not going to generate additional traffic. It is going to generate additional traffic 24/7 and during peak hours. But also remember, a hospital doesn't generate traffic. It doesn't have huge peak hour trip generation like other kinds of, say, employment generation, like a commercial center or offices, and it doesn't generate peak hour traffic like a residential project would. Generates it more evenly over 24 hours with patients coming and going, visitors coming and going, and employees coming and going. So the kind of project it is helps actually ameliorate some of that traffic impact just by the nature of the project. In working with city staff, our traffic analysis group identified every kind of improvement at those intersections that could be made within the existing right-of-way that would help reduce traffic. And there are, as I said, there are 10 specific mitigation measures timed over a period of time when certain improvements come on board. Certain improvements have to be made before those improvements are in place, so that hopefully the improvements will be there to help reduce traffic impacts as that new traffic hits the streets, so to speak. No pun intended. Maybe a pun intended. So, but as I indicated, there isn't sufficient right-of-way to improve lanes, for example, or add acceleration or deceleration or right turn lanes, or add 2 left turn lanes to where 1 is. So there are some physical limitations, which is why we had to identify those as significant impacts. But again, those impacts would occur as growth occurred in the city, even without any improvement to the hospital. And so the city has to weigh those potential significant environmental impacts of traffic versus the benefits that the project would provide to the city.
So I understand, okay, because this is not a shopping center, so we don't have people in and out. You have peak hours for the nurses, the doctors that go to on duty, so I can see the parking lot is always full, a lot of cars, okay. But how about you design, since such a short time, I don't understand, okay, because just based on the hospital, people are talking about 66 bay. So meaning from the current, there's a major increase. So how you design the in and out, okay, of this ER? So when you have an ambulance coming in, so what's the float? Okay, maybe you can share with us. Okay, is go with our traffic on the Sunset, okay, and Cameron. So because ER, emergency room, so meaning you have ambulance coming in for people need to get taken care. So what's the design over there?
Okay, so you're talking about the actual on-site internal access and circulation.
Correct. From the street, you go into Sunset, you go into emergency room, and you're coming out. So most of the times, people coming in, okay, and then leave of the premise. So how the design coordinate with Sunset, okay, Avenue? How you coordinate with this, okay, to make sure the impact will be, okay, reduced?
Yes,
I don't want to let John feel neglected, so I'm going to let him handle that one.
Thank you very much, and that's definitely a great question. One thing that a person mentioned earlier in the presentation, the main purpose of the specific plan is to establish the framework to allow for the future development of the ED, the ICU, medical office buildings, the surface parking lot. There are no design plans in front of you as part of the request today. The primary request is the specific plan, which was originally adopted over 30 years ago, updating that, modifying that specific plan, adding new requirements and regulations such as the incorporation of the traffic mitigation measures that are included in the EIR, incorporating all that to allow for the future development. Emanate Health is working on the plans. The specific plan does include a provision that a future precise plan of review will need to be submitted to the city and reviewed before the Planning Commission, before any physical construction takes place. So that ED would have to go back before the Planning Commission for the design level review.
And the following question will be, now you designed this ER, then you have people coming in. So how about your parking structure? Are you going to build a parking structure? Or are you just taking all the land just for parking? Because I think parking structure will save a lot of land because you need a lot of parking.
That is correct. As part of this analysis, what also took a lot of time is we did a comprehensive parking study to essentially establish what the parking demand is for this campus. So the 2.5 ratio that I mentioned before is unique to the Queen of the Valley campus demand. It is anticipated that there will be a parking structure. If there's going to be the parking lot or the parking structure, that would also have to be provided at the future. This EIR assumed essentially a theoretical number of traffic, and those plans will have to be reviewed in conjunction with this EIR, assuming that it would get certified today, for consistency analysis. If something deviates from that could cause a future environmental impact that would have to be appropriately analyzed in the future.
So based on today, your presentation is CEQA, okay, purchase the land so you can do this expansion. At the same time, since you do this major expansion, you do some major renovation for your outer space based on you just show us. Am I right?
This is what we base the specific plan. This is the framework plan that we base. Sure. Let's see. Is this mouse moving? And on this plan, the primary entry would be on Sunset. sorry. Let me go
use the laser?
on Sunset. No, I can use that. Along Sunset Avenue, the primary entry would be right here. On this, it would be with this. This is an initial framework plan. It has, in its evaluation, this has evolved. So I know that the location, and I could maybe have the Emanate Health kind of talk about the evolution. We know a little bit about it, but we haven't seen any concrete plans. I would defer to Emanate Health about that.
If I may, yes. Again, the framework of this was, if I may, the framework for this was for the specific plan. The precise plan, which will follow, will give the specific locations for the new ER and other medical arts building, medical office buildings. Right now, this was a representation at the time when it was developed for the master plan to show the basic density of what could go on to this plan. General idea, right. Right now, the ER that we have on the drawing board, because we've looked at all the things, find out where is where the purple building is on the box, on the bottom, the purple, yeah. Behind our existing ER, right in there, is where we're slated to put the new ED. And the logic is that we would have either two entrances, one off of Sunset, which is the existing entrance, or the Merced. Okay? Yeah, Merced. That would be the two avenues for the ERs to come in. Right. Then we have, and the next building that we're looking at is a medical arts building, which will have state-of-the-art cancer, what we call 1206D, or medical offices, and ambulatory surgery. And that'll probably go up where that blue box is up there. But again, those are the two basic projects on the board right now. We're not talking about the 5-story buildings, and that's way off in the distance. Correct. Right. Right.
Potentially two entries from Merced and the Sunset.
Correct.
And there will be expansion for 66 bay to take care more of patients.
6 bays, yes. With a new ICU on the second floor. So it's a two.
So this is still a general idea. You haven't get the plan drawing. Submit to.
It's formulating as we speak right now.
Right now you have a CEQA approved, so you just want to move on.
We want to show you what the worst case scenario would be in the future.
And the park area, the blue area, that's our Sunset Field. Then that will be what?
A portion of that. We have the top part of that, but yes, the part up alongside Torrey Pines.
Yes, the blue one. That would be the basic.
The logic there is that will be all paved, flat surface parking. Because we're going to lose the parking where the buildings are going in and have to displace that parking. So the logic is to get the transaction done with the park so that it moves into, so that we own it, and then we will start doing construction on that part there, and then we'll be able
So what will be built there on the park? Currently it's a parking lot.
At this point in time, it's a parking lot.
I understand, but the future, why the plan? Do you have a
parking lot? We don't have
structural parking lot, or just just
surface parking. That's all in the plan right now. 10 years from now,
you never know, because you have a lot of land now.
But right now, we need the parking.
You need a lot.
Right, and that will hold about 350 new spaces. Sunset Field was 3 acres, about 350 spaces. So that will accommodate the requirements for the parking and all the additional growth that we have.
Got it. So currently the Sunset Field will be using just for the parking lot, 350 parking space. That's what the requirement, and then you have a major expansion for your ED.
Correct. And then we also have another building that we're building, and that will most likely have a parking structure.
Got it. So basically the 3 years, all this we waiting is for the CEQA to approve.
Correct.
And when you CEQA everything done, then based on that, then you bring to us, then if we're okay, then you can.
Will be the precise plan.
Then you can go to 30-day, you close escrow, and then since you're using that, so after 30 days, if you cannot close, what will happen? Should we charge you more? No, because right now we only charge
You're
you 7.
charging me for rent on a parking lot, a field I can't even use.
What I'm saying right now, the city only receives $1,700 from you guys. Okay, for the parking lot, we let you to use, and it's still not owned by you guys. They're owned by the city. And I think we are $1,700, right?
I think we
Paulina?
need you guys need the $3 million. So I think you better buy it.
Yeah. So my point is, I have no problem, okay, for you to purchase and to help you to move to build a beautiful ED for our residents, for all the patients, okay, and we want to help you to make it faster. By the same time, we don't want the delay and taking the time, and so hopefully, and $1,700 per month for the parking lot is almost nothing. Okay, so that's what I'm saying. So if you can close 30 days, okay, we all happy. Okay, so if you
gotta make this thing move.
yeah, otherwise I'm going to charge you 10 times, like $17,000 a month if you cannot close 30 days. I'm not kidding. I'm serious. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else? Okay.
And this is for Emanate Health, so sorry. Sorry.
Go exercise for you.
Just for the record, you can tell how old this picture is because the old community pool is in the picture. But what is the overall concept for Queen of the Valley going to be? Is it going to be a specialized hospital? It's my understanding that ICC is more of your heart hospital in the area. What's the plan for Queen of the Valley?
Well, Queen of the Valley, obviously it's our largest hospital, largest facility. Yes, we have Emanate Health has 3 hospitals between Covina and we have, in the building that's shaded up against there, that's our family birthing center. Mm-hmm. So we have moved the OB-GYN out of Foothill and brought all that volume into to Queen of the Valley. So right now, we're known as we have the ER is going to be our specialty, but we've got neuro that we're working on. We have a number of specialized programs that will fit into the Queen of the Valley Hospital. The Covina Intercommunity Hospital is focusing on stroke as a stroke center, our heart center. Mm-hmm. Okay, the Glendora Hospital, Foothill Hospital has its niche. So we're trying to strategize so that we're not duplicating services across 3 different hospitals. Okay, yeah. So, but essentially, we have a neuro program. We have, what we call 1206D clinics. So we have a lot of orthopedics in that business there. We'll have ambulatory surgery center along with our ORs. So they'll be doing state-of-the-art, bone surgeries, orthopedic surgeries. So does that answer your question?
Yeah. You mentioned a cancer center?
Cancer center, yes. We're aligning ourselves with a academic medical center, mm-hmm. and we will have 2 linear accelerators, so we'll be able to have an infusion center along with radiation oncology treatments. So that will be a joint venture mm-hmm. that we're working with, along with, again, that ambulatory surgery center. So a lot of the growth areas that we're looking at are focused on those areas. We have state-of-the-art, we want a neuro program that we're developing, orthopedics. So those are some of the
Perfect.
That we're working on.
And that helps because
and it's a stroke center.
Because now the 5 of us will be able to explain why you need the expansion, why it's going to be good for our community.
Right.
So, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions?
Any other questions? No. Thank you, sir. Okay, not seeing any more questions, I would like to move forward if we can.
Can I have a question for Jeff?
Well, of course. Right ahead.
Hey, Jeff. Okay, so when tonight, we want to approve is a zone change, right?
General plan amendment,
General plan.
a zone change, and certify the EIR.
So basically, certify the EIR, okay, and at the same time, okay, approve general plan and zone change.
Correct.
So many all put together, so they can continue
Yes.
Okay, and the 30-day, they guarantee we'll purchase, okay, and close escrow. So we can get our $2.9 million back.
I've learned not to guarantee things, but we will work hard to make that
Man,
happen.
it's like nobody want to guarantee anything. This job is so tough. Okay, like everybody dancing around the number, and nobody want to guarantee and want us to approve, and we have to take the hit. Okay, so
Is that a motion?
I don't have a motion. No. I have a question for Paulina. Okay, and the $1,700 parking lot. Can we increase the $1,700? Okay, if we cannot close 30 days. Any old real estate deal, okay, if they cannot close proper time, we have a clause of a penalty clause. Okay, so we are going to approve. If we approve, I want to amend it, okay, with $1,700 if they cannot close 30 days. If they close 30 days, $1,700 is fine, but can we change the rental, okay, so after 30 days, if they cannot close escrow?
I believe that they're on a month-to-month on the lease, so we can terminate their lease within 30 days and renegotiate to a higher term. At least
I think 30 days, we keep the same, just after 30 days. If the, okay, Mr. Hospital, okay, Mr. Queensville Valley, he says 30 days, he can close. If we, right?
Correct.
Correct?
So if they don't close in 30 days and we want to increase the monthly rent,
so they can more motivated to close, otherwise they have to pay more parking space. That's my point.
Yeah, we could.
Because they have owned the land, we already allowed to convert the parking lot, and they're using 350 parking space. I'm support the Queensville Valley. Okay, I'm 100%. You are a big partner, but what fair is fair. Okay, $1,700 is nothing. Okay, but we want them to close. We want to help them to build a state-of-the-art of ERED and to serve the neighborhood and help them be very successful in our city. So I want to know, is that doable?
We would have to terminate the agreement or renegotiate the lease.
So are they going to delay for this or no? Are we going? Can I amend it? Approval subject to 30-day close escrow and with a rent increase.
I would defer that to the attorney.
That is my potential amended approval.
I didn't hear your. I'm sorry, I didn't hear your question, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem.
You fall asleep? It's only like 9:25. Okay, my point is we want to approve all this general fund plus general plan, amend the zone change, and approve EIRs. Okay, and with that, I want to amend the subject to 30-day close escrow. Okay, and if they cannot close the escrow 30 days, I want to change the rent. Currently $1,700. I want to increase to maybe $5,000 or something that we can make them more motivated to close.
So what was posted on the agenda is to approve the EIR, the general plan amendment, and then the zone change.
Can I
you cannot attach a condition.
I cannot attach anything.
But I can guarantee you that we'll work hard to get this closed within 30 days. Is that what you wanted to hear? We will get this done.
You sure you can guarantee 30 days?
We will get this done. We've been working on it today.
You give me the thumbs up? You sure? 30 days? So I don't have to give you a penalty cloud? You know, this time and age, you cannot trust people, okay? Okay.
Mr. Mayor, if we can, we need 3 separate motions. Do the EIR first, then your general plan amendment, and then the zone change and the city clerk.
So city attorney, okay, so basically I cannot amend it, so, right, see, I cannot amend it, so I cannot basically just approve or you deny it.
What's before you is the EIR, the general plan.
Can we send back to say I need more time to review?
You can, if this body needs more time to look at this, you can continue to a date certain if that's your desire.
Okay, so basically I only have 3 options. One, approve, denial, or send back to more time for the council to review. Due to we just got this, okay, besides Mayor Johnson, okay, he has all the time to go to the hospital to see what's going on. Okay, the rest of us, we are like a bunch of don't know what's going on. So in that way, okay, we need more time to study, okay, on this thing. So only these 3 options, am I right?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I will move resolution number 2019-82, a resolution of the City Council of the City of West Covina certifying the final program environmental impact report, adoption of a mitigation measure and reporting program, adopting a statement of overriding considerations for general plan amendment number 18-02 and zone change number 17-02 pursuant to the California Environmental Quality Act of 1970 as amended.
And I will second that motion. Okay, do we have a roll call on that one first?
Councilman Castellanos?
Aye.
Councilwoman Lopez Viado?
Aye.
Councilmember Shoemaker?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Wu?
I want to send back, to more time for me studies, so I say no.
Mayor Johnson?
Aye. It passes 4-1. Our second resolution.
Okay, I'll move resolution number 2019-83, a resolution of the City Council of the City of West Covina, California, approving general plan amendment number 18-02 related to changing the land use designation of the parcel located at 1615 West Merced Avenue from parks and open space to commercial.
And I'll second that resolution. Have a roll call, please.
Councilman Castellanos?
Aye.
Councilwoman Lopez Viado?
Aye.
Councilmember Shoemaker?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Wu?
I still no more time. Nope.
Mayor Johnson?
Aye. Passes 4-1. Okay, and our last ordinance.
I will move ordinance number 2461, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of West Covina, California, approving zone change number 17-02 related to the adoption of the Queen of the Valley Hospital specific plan.
And I'll second that ordinance. A roll call, please.
Councilman Castellanos?
Aye.
Councilwoman Lopez Viado?
Aye.
Councilmember Shoemaker?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Wu?
Nope.
Mayor Johnson?
Aye. It passes 4-1. Congratulations. Let's move forward now. Okay, that's the end of our consent calendar. Now we shall move to, we have a couple Mother May I's, and they are from Councilwoman Lady Lopez.
So 4th of July is going to be around the corner, technically. I wanted to direct staff to explore options of the enforcement of illegal fireworks and the 4th of July event. That's one of my first Mother May I.
Okay, may I ask you a question on that? I know it's a Mother May I. I don't want to get into it. You're asking for two different things on one Mother May I. You're asking for the fireworks illegal one, and then you're asking for the bring back the 4th of July?
Yes.
So are we asking for two different Mother May I's there, or the same one?
Well, it's one asking fireworks and enforcement.
Well, I actually
the way
wanted...
I read it, she's asking for the enforcement of the fireworks, and she's also asking for the 4th of July event, for an event. She's asking for two different...
It's technically two different things.
So why
If
we
there's a
make them
possibility of
two
bringing the
different
4th
Mother
of
May
July,
I's?
okay, then two Mother May I's.
Can
The
we
illegal
enforce those
firework enforcement, code enforcement that has been occurring.
Let's separate them to two different Mother May I's.
Two
Okay?
separate Mother May I's.
Okay. How to enforce the illegal firework in our city at the July 4th? I think maybe I can help a little bit. So you want to co-enforcement for how we do it on July 4th next year, so we can make sure we don't have a lot of illegal firework going around. Am I right? This is the first one?
Yes, and it's not just the day of the 4th of July. It's that whole week prior, just the enforcement of the illegal fireworks that is occurring.
Well, especially since 4th of July is on a Saturday.
Exactly. Because I know a lot of the residents are complaining, and, they've mentioned that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Well, I'm not going to
I'm
discuss
fine.
it further. I want the city to bring back options of what they can do to enforce this, and not just say we don't have. I want to see options for
Okay, those are
illegal
those are
fireworks.
your two Mother May I's on that one? Okay, we'll bring those back on the
Well,
on number...
just adding on to your request for the 4th of July event, the community is already organizing a parade, and I know you've been at meetings for that, so I want that considered as part of any option.
Yes, thank you.
So that is, my understanding, based on what they say, is till 5 o'clock. So after that, we can have our city event at the 7th when the time is dark, maybe 8 o'clock. I think the time is maybe 9 o'clock. I think July 4th always like we start at 9 o'clock when time is really dark. So maybe we can firework. Well, okay, if we have money for that. Okay, so are you going to have a firework, or you want a laser show? So.
I would. That wasn't the laser show that was out there. Wasn't the laser show that I personally was expecting. I expected the.
Let's bring it back for Mother May I, okay? And
to
so
bring
the
that
list-
back for Mother May.
Mother May I, for the potentially July 4th celebration.
Well, my thing is, if West Covina is saying that there's no fireworks in the city, you need to give residents options, alternatives. So if you're not going to have that within our city, then you should give them an alternative to have a fireworks. They want to bring back the fireworks show. It's the one that brings everything together. If we could afford it, any options. So this is where I'm requesting the city to see if they can bring back options, whether, however way, leave it to the experts, however way to save cost on that, if that's a possibility.
We'll bring that one back as Mother May I. And now number 15 is also yours.
So obviously there's a lot of things that occur at the parks, and I'd like for the city to review the parks master plans for basically all the city parks to address recreational uses and the safety of the parks for our residents.
Okay. Say nothing else? Okay. That'll be your 3 Mother May I's to bring back. I see nothing else. We are adjourned. Oh, I'm sorry. I do apologize. Thank you.
There was a bill, and I don't know if you were copied on responses to me. I asked what our lobbyist has been doing regarding SB 266. And basically what this bill says, and it's a 2-year bill at this point, is that if the city has a retiree who in their calculations of their monthly pensions has been getting an overpayment because the city reported income that shouldn't have been included in the income calculation for the retirement amount, and PERS figures it out, instead of them getting the money back from the recipient, the city would have to pay PERS back, and then the retiree from that point forward would be getting a reduced amount from PERS, but the city would be responsible for providing an annuity that would keep them at the wrongly calculated amount. And so I would like to bring that bill back to take an opposed position on it. And it again reiterates my where has our lobbyist been, because the number one thing that West Covina has right now is unfunded liability. The last thing we would need is out there somebody, if something was calculated incorrectly, that we have to pay the rest of their life a higher amount and also pay PERS back for the overpayments. So I would like that to come back for us to take a position on. And it's time sensitive because we will have till January 30th to oppose it, because that will be the deadline for it to move forward or completely die.
Okay, anything else? Okay, Roger.